This is Indie Business Podcast, Season 3, Episode 6, Makers on Main Street. Hello and welcome to this episode of the Indie Business Podcast. I am your host, mentor, and coach, Donna Maria, the founder and CEO at indiebusinessnetwork.com. My goal is to help makers and handmade entrepreneurs build a solid business foundation, increase your income, and use your business to create the life you love. On this episode, I will introduce you to Torrian Howell of Dorneé Bath and Body Luxuries in Twinsburg, Ohio. Torrian is the single mother of one son, and even with her business going gangbusters and a newly opened retail store, she still holds down a full-time job. Torrian started out as a manicurist, and she still maintains her license, but today, 100% of her entrepreneurial energy is devoted to making and selling the products her customers love. Torrian's past work experience has made it easy for her to land her products in salons, and her online retail sales are brisk as well. Earlier this month, she opened her first retail store. While the sky is the limit with this maker, she has had to overcome significant challenges to bring her goals to fruition. Her story will encourage you to knock down every wall that threatens to come between you and your business. You can get a summary for this episode at indiebusinessnetwork.com/30. I'll be right back with Torrian Howell of Dorneé Bath and Body Luxuries in Twinsburg, Ohio. Torrian Howell from Dorneé outside Cleveland, Ohio. Welcome to Indie Business Podcast.
Good morning, Donna Maria.
I'm so excited to have you. Now, tell me where you are right now when we're talking. I love how we have the freedom and flexibility to be anywhere we want to be in our businesses. Where are you right now?
I'm actually in my basement, sitting at my desk.
Perfect. Well, I'm at my kitchen table, so I have the luxury of having a quiet house today. So I am really excited to be here, and I'm comfortable. I have a cup of coffee, and I am so excited to talk to you. Now, Torrian, you've been a member of the Indie Business Network for a long time. And tell us a little bit about how you started Dorneé.
Well, actually, the Dorneé line started out of one goal, and that was just to take care of my mother. My mother had pancreatic cancer. She was diagnosed in 2004. So I started making butters and lotions to try and help combat with the dryness as it results from the chemotherapy and the radiation that she was taking. And it was drying her skin really, really bad. And we were trying, things that we use all the time, our traditional lotions, our store-bought lotions. And I said, well, let me try and make something up. And I just kind of whipped something up. And it helped her. It really did. It made a difference in restoring the moisture and elasticity in her skin. She didn't like it because I didn't put a fragrance in it. She says, I'm not dead. And she would spray her perfume in it. So that is actually how the Dorneé line started. It started just out of a desire for me to just help my mom maintain some sense of normalcy. And when she passed, I always say she birthed the Dorneé line, which is a combination of the words adore and my mother name, Renee.
Oh, how beautiful. And so after she passed, you continued to make the products and start selling them?
Yeah, I just started when I realized, that it made a difference and restoring the moisture in her skin and the dryness, and she had burning and stuff. And I said, well, let me look a little further in what I'm using and why the things that we use all the time did not work. So I started doing, research on natural ingredients and their benefits. And I just started shuffling around in the kitchen and mixing things. And it just developed into something much greater than I ever had anticipated. It never was my goal to start a line, but I just think that the love that I had for my mom, it just became bigger than me, and it just birthed this line.
And you also have a career outside of Dorneé as well. Two of them, actually. Tell us about them.
Yes, I work a full-time job with a major communications company, and it is a very stressful job. And I also work with different salons and Whole Foods, and I work with a local natural market called the Mustard Seed Market. So I'm kind of all over the place right now.
Right, right. And you're also you're a manicurist as well, right?
Yes, I don't any longer do nails, but I've had three nail salons and I practice and own salons for many, many years. I'm still licensed and I'm looking forward to bringing that back around in some capacities, not with my hands, but having that back around in some capacities in my business and my new endeavors.
Oh, that would be wonderful. And we're going to talk a little bit about your store that you're going to be opening. And, you know, you never know whether you might be able to have some manicurist tables in there one day. But Dorneé, take us back to, you know, the first part of your business. You've grown so much, and your business has just expanded. I've been so inspired by just watching you overcome so many obstacles, but one in particular just stands out. And, you know, I know our listeners, we all encounter obstacles and challenges as we grow our businesses, but you have overcome, you know, quite a significant one. Can you tell us a little bit about that and how you know, managed to just, you know, pull things together and keep going under such stressful circumstances?
Oh, certainly. My mother passed away in 2010, and right before she passed away, I got married, and well, shortly after my marriage, I found out that my husband had liver cancer, and so he went through, but as a family, we went through 3 liver transplants, and he passed away, and it was very tough. It was very tough to try and maintain a household. I am a mom. My son was 10 at the time of his passing, trying to maintain a home, still trying to grieve from my mother's death. I don't think I ever, even still to this day, had the opportunity to do that because I got so involved in my husband's illness. And still trying to maintain the Dorneé line. And it was really, really challenging. It was really tough. There were long sleepless nights. I had to question whether or not I wanted to continue to do this because mentally and spiritually, I could not give Dorneé what it actually deserved, what my customers deserved, and what it needed. It was just a very tough time trying for me to handle the loss of my husband and be there for my son who was suffering dearly from back-to-back deaths. So it was just really a tough time. But, you know, through it all, I just had to be mindful that these two important people in my life were so supportive of me in anything that I did. My husband had a lot to do with naming some of the products that I had on the line early on in the business and mixing and whipping and telling his friends and things like that. So I had to continue. No matter how hard it was, I had to figure out a way to press on and not just lay down and just give up on these blessings. I think they're all blessings in spite of our trials and our tribulations. We just have to figure out a way to keep moving. We just have to figure out a way. And I did that. And I'm so glad that I did. I feel so good that I made the decision to get up and get out of bed and dry my eyes and say, you know, I can do this, because I know still that they have that faith in me, and they knew that this is something that I was so passionate about. And had, you know, my husband been here, he would have been right there with me. He wouldn't have wanted me to give up. So I had to do it.
Well, and that's such a beautiful example of how, as you say, figuring it out. And, you know, that is, I mean, I watched you. I was there to see all the things that you were doing, and I didn't have the close-up personal view to the family issues so much as I had these conversations with you where you would tell me a little bit about what was going on in the business. And Dorneé, I called you Dorneé, Torrian. And, you know, I do that from time to time because it's such a pretty name and it sounds like a person's name. But, you know, I remember watching you hanging on by a string, just hanging on and not letting it go and not letting it go and staying up to make the products. And you really were literally just hanging on there for a while.
Yes, that is so true. And I mean, barely hanging on. It was just, you know, early on, I started before my husband really got sick. We traveled a lot and we did a lot of trade shows in different states, and we were on the road, and that was a big part of my growth. And my online order sustained me. And had it not been for that, I don't know if the Dorneé line really would have survived. It was the customers that I had established through the online presence, because I just could not give it me. I could not get myself involved. I could not speak. I could not think. I just could not do anything. But, you know, when people put their orders in, they don't know that you're going through, you know, hell. They don't know that you're crying tears in their jars. They don't have a clue. They want their product, and they supported what I was doing. They loved the product. And that gave me as well that inspiration to keep going. But they have no idea that they have many crocodile tears in a lot of those jars that was being shipped out at that time. I had to figure it out. I don't know how I did it, but I had to figure it out. And it was just moment by moment. I wouldn't even give it day by day. It was moment by moment.
Good. And thank you so much for being willing to share that, because I know our listeners, whatever challenge you're having, and I know you're having one, you may just feel like you're just hanging on. And sometimes that's all we can do is just hang on. We don't know what the future's going to be. We don't know whether it's going to get harder or easier. But we have this thing, as you described, inside of us, that this passion for what we do, that there's almost something intangible and indescribable that drives us. And thank you so much for sharing that. And so here you are with a son, a full-time job, and a business, and you are doing all of this and doing it quite well. And then one day, a couple weeks ago, you emailed me and said, "What do you think? I'm going to open a store." And I remember saying, "Yes, open a store." And I remember getting off the email, and I think we had a phone conversation. I was like, wow, this is seriously a superwoman. So tell us, Dorneé, what went through your mind? Why a store? Why now? And, tell us what's happening and how it's going.
Well, you know what? I'm so excited about it. And like anything, a new endeavor, you have that fear. But having a boutique was something that it wasn't anything that I was looking for at the time. It just came about. The area that I'm going to open is an area that I always drive through, and I said, oh, if I ever open up a store, this would be where this was one of the places I'd like for it to be. And one day I was just riding down the street and I saw a sign, and I said, well, I just want to know, what the rent is in this area. I'm not ready by any stretch of the imagination. Actually, I was in my car, was in my pajamas. I ran to the bank. I just was curious to find out if it was an area that would have been, something that I could afford, later on down the line. So the long and short of it, to my surprise, it was beyond what I can afford. The opportunity was so great, and it was literally just handed to me. And I just believe that was the time that God opened the door, and he says, either you're going to walk through it or you're going to turn your back on it. And I had to make a decision, and I made a decision to step out on faith. And it was a quick decision. It wasn't, like I said, nothing that I absolutely planned, that I was sitting here just pounding the pavements, looking for areas. It was something, it's just a faith move. And I'm just so excited about it. I'm opening up really soon. I got my keys. I got to work and fix the store up. And I'm just really, really on this roll right now. And I am just making faith moves. I'm making faith moves. I'm tired, but I'm going to do it.
Well, and I'm looking back through our email exchanges, and it was less than 4 weeks ago that you emailed me. And then you posted a picture on Facebook of, I think it was you with the key, or a picture of the lease. And then you posted a picture of the walls being painted and some floors being sanded. And I said, this girl I'm like, I don't know about that communications company, but she must be working there with a lease tethered or something to herself, but this is so fantastic. So you're almost ready to open. You'll be opening actually May 2015, which is this month. So tell us, what are some of the things that you have learned just in this 4-week period of time that you could share with other makers who are thinking about opening a store as well?
I think that so far, let me go back. I owned a business before years ago. I owned 3 nail salons. So I kind of had an ideal of what it entailed to get started in dealing with the city. Because I'm actually opening in a historical district, it's a little bit tougher. I think it's unnecessary, but it's a little bit tougher to get permits. It's tougher to just get the sign approved. You have to have 3, 5 signatures. It's just a delay. So my learning process is, had I realized that it was a historical district, I think that I would have researched a little better what it entails, how long it was just delays. I'm the type of person when I'm ready to do something, let's go. I don't want any hiccups. And I know that's unrealistic in some capacities, but what I've learned is that you have to know your area. You have to know it's not as simple in certain districts. In this historical district that I am moving in, it's a little difficult, whereas other cities and other areas, it doesn't take that much. You go sign your name, you pay your fees, and it's just that. But with everything that I am doing, I have to have 3 to 5 signatures. So, I'm just learning my area. I appreciate it. I love the area, but it's just a little bit more difficult. And of course, when you're renovating, whereas you think the wall is solid and you go to paint it and it crumbles, it's just the whole renovation. I've never had to renovate a place because it was bare bones. It was in one of our old newspaper places, and they hadn't done anything to it. So it's just every day I'm learning something, and most importantly, I'm learning to be patient. I'm learning patience. That has been one of my vices for many, many years, but I'm learning to be patient because nothing happens overnight, and we have this vision, and it just, it doesn't always go as planned. So you just have to acquire as much patience as possible.
Well, that's a really good reminder there, I think, for all of us. And so you just pointed out something that's really interesting and important too. And I think that is that as much as we can share basic things that apply to retail spaces across the board, for example, make sure you read your lease, make sure make sure, you know what the landlord covers, what are the utilities, all that stuff, but also how specific a lot of things are to local areas that are not spelled out in advance for you.
Exactly.
So I guess it's really important to go to the county where your store is located so you can find out some of the, maybe land use restrictions, or as you mentioned, historical things. There may be some trash restrictions. I know when we had a studio, there was a trash restriction we didn't know about, so it made it really hard for us to take the trash out. So little things like that. So, I mean, ask so many questions, many questions. And also, Torrian, does it help to talk to other people who are leasing space nearby? Because, if I'd asked, they would have told me about the trash restriction, I guess.
Most certainly, because what I've been doing, I've put my tennis shoes on and I've been introducing myself and knocking on my neighbors' doors and, just learning the area, and a little bit more, riding through it and enjoying the area, because it's just an area where there's a lot of shops and boutiques and they have a lot of festivals, and enjoying it and working is two entirely different things. So I have been diligent about meeting my neighbors and talking to them and getting more understanding and ideas as to how that district works, how the city works, and different requirements. And everybody's been so welcoming. I'm so excited about it. And they've been so very helpful on this journey that has only been 4 weeks. They've really been helpful. So you have to get out, and introduce yourself and speak to your neighbors, because they've been there. They know it, and they can be very, very helpful. And so far, I have just been open arms. It's just open arms. It's just been an awesome experience with so far my neighbors.
So tell me a little bit about what this store looks like and what you expect to see there. I'm just so excited to tell everybody about your grand opening in a bit.
You know, this store is going to be like home. It's going to be for family. I always speak about my Dorneé family because this whole journey was based on the love of my mother, my family. So I'm making it, like home. It's going to be really warm. It has a lot of earth tones and, dark woods and, antique wrought irons. I just want people to feel so comfortable there, like they're walking into their own space. So, that is just really my goal. It's not going to be flashy and bright. It's going to be just warm and fuzzy. That's what I'm looking for, warm and fuzzy.
And how are you going to manage the store with a full-time job?
I have employees.
Awesome.
Employees.
Have you found them yet?
I have. And also I have a lot of help with my family. My family has been so supportive of this journey and coming over at night and packing and labeling. And so I do have help, and I'm so grateful for that because right now I'm in transition. I'm still working the full-time job, and I have to do that until I get this pretty solid so I can make the complete transition, out of my full-time job and solely work the Dorneé business, on its own. But I do have help, and I'm so grateful for it. And we have to as indies, we think we're super women. And I think that I've thought that for so long that, I can do it. I don't have to ask for any help. And people always extend themselves. If you need any help, I know you're up all night. Especially at the time when, I was going through all those tragedies, I thought I could do it all. And, until you break, and you don't want to get to a breaking point. You want to get the help. You have to get the help, and that's been a struggle for me for years, is just really not taking the help that people were offering. But now, guess what? Anybody who walks through my door has to work.
Well, we do need to ask for help, and really help is all around us. It's just a matter of recognizing it. So thank you for that reminder. I think I need to be reminded of that as well. So tell us a little bit, Torrian, about what your business model is going to look like after the store opens. What are the different things that you'll have? What are the revenue streams, and how are you structuring things?
Well, you know what? Right now I'm setting, getting the boutique ready with all the Dorneé products. But my space is so large. It's so large. I sat there the other night and I was looking. I said, "Oh my goodness!" But what I'm going to do with the space, because I have it, it's going to allow me. I'm so into soap making. I just have really, really become so fond of cold process soap making, and so I'm going to utilize the space for soap making classes. I have so many people asking, "Well, I need you to teach me. I would like to have a class," and things like that. So it would allow me to do soap making classes. I would like to support. I have a lot of friends that have different businesses that makes jewelry, and I would like to showcase them. I believe that God has given me a blessing, and I don't want him to take it away from me by being selfish. So if that place will allow me to open the door for someone else to be introduced and to help them establish themselves or get their business out, I would like to have, Saturday nights or Sunday afternoons where I have other indies and local businesses. I hate to be biased to our women, but I would like to have, ladies' night, because we have a lot of gifted people here in my city. But you have to get help. Someone has to help you. You need that help. So I would like to open the doors for other opportunities for other people to start walking in their journey and walking in their purpose, just to be able to extend myself to help someone else is the greatest gift that I think that this is giving me to give to somebody else. So those are other avenues of income that I'm looking to, and streams that I'm looking to bring into the store. I have a couple of people asking me about a consignment. They make jewelry and they would like to have it actually as a part of the Dorneé boutique retail. But I'm growing each day and learning each day outside of the soap making classes and things like that, and having little vendor meets with other indies in the local indies in the area each day. I just don't sleep. I can't turn it off. I'm figuring it out. So I think each day I'm learning something new about how I want this to grow.
You must be not having many moments of not thinking about this. And as you just mentioned, even in your sleep, it seems like you're still thinking about this. So in our last few minutes, I would just love to hear your tips for people who are managing a business, because you also have your online business, which is another stream that you didn't mention, but obviously that's not going anywhere, right? So you do have all these things and you still manage to have a full-time job. We have so many listeners who have a full-time job and they're also parents and they also have a business. What are your best tips and words of encouragement for them, Torrian?
You know what? The biggest thing is becoming organized. Once I really made up my mind that this is something that I wanted to do full time, you have to have a sense of organization, because if not, you're going to be all over the place. Everything is not going to be perfect, but when you come home from work, you still have to be mom, and if you're married, you still have to be wife. So you have to learn how to carve out those times for family. That's just most important. But being organized with your business and organized with, I do a lot of vendor events. I do a lot of trade shows. I also am obligated through working with Whole Foods and the other mustard seed market stores that, I have to do demos. So, but you have to, most importantly, take care of yourself. I have times where I shut it down. I get in the corner, I get quiet, I don't want to talk. And I just, just meditate in everything that is going on. You have to take care of yourself, number one. I can't say organization enough. You have to be organized, and you have to understand that it's family first. You have to take care of your family. You can't put yourself in a position where you're just trying to accomplish everything, which I understand because I'm all over the place. But you have to take care of yourself. You do. You have to understand that without you, it's not going to be the business. If you're not good, then nothing else is going to be good. I take a lot of notes. I have 1,000,001 tablets. I write everything down. If it's just the word the, if I think of it and it relates to Dorneé, I write it down. And so that's what helps me keep all of these things going. I get off of work, I'm running, dropping off orders. I come home, I'm up late at night packing orders. So, you just have to develop a system that is conducive to you and your daily life. But I will continue to say, don't give up. Don't let that full-time job, if that's not what you want to do, or you're not happy in that place, and this is something that you're passionate about, don't give up. Your time is going to come. It is not always when you expect it, like mine. I never thought that I would open up a store, but you just cannot give up. Keep walking in your purpose. Keep staying faithful, and just don't give up.
How beautiful is that? Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, tell us your address for your store and where we can go for the grand opening. I know you've probably organized that already as well. We need a road trip, Torrian.
I know. Actually, I'm in the historical district of downtown Bedford, Ohio. It's right outside of Cleveland. My address is 711 Broadway Avenue in downtown Bedford. And the grand opening is going to be May the 9th. And I'm just going to have an all-day event. And I'm just so excited about it. And everybody's excited about it. And I just can't wait to finally open the doors and just showcase all the things that I do. By me working at home, so many people come to my house, and that's taxing, and you can't do that. The stores that have my products, the Whole Foods and the mustard seeds, and I have beauty salons that carry my products. Of course, they don't carry the entire line. So this is an opportunity for me to showcase everything that I do and more. And I just could not be more excited about it.
Well, it's going to be fantastic. And I know you're going to post pictures everywhere. So for those of us who may not be able to attend in person, we will be able to attend vicariously, because Torrian does such a great job of using her Facebook page and her Pinterest and her Instagram, such a wonderful job of that. And you can go to Dorneé, DORNEE.com to buy her products and get all the news and information and follow her on your favorite social media outlet. Right, Torrian?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, dear. This has been an information-packed episode. I'm so excited that we grabbed you before things get even more busy for you. And we are wishing you the best, and we look forward to seeing that grand opening and some of us maybe even celebrating with you. So excited. Congratulations.
Thank you, Donna Maria. I appreciate you and all that you do for all of us. I just can't say that enough. I'm so honored to be a part of such a network with such great indies. I learn from them. So as I'm on this journey, I'm learning every day from my indie sisters and brothers. We have an awesome family.
Thank you. It is pretty awesome, and it's my pleasure to serve you. Thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing that store. Can't wait. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, I hope you enjoyed my interview with Torrian Howell of Dorneé Bath & Body Luxuries in Twinsburg, Ohio. And if you did, won't you send me some Twitter love? Just go to indiebusinessnetwork.com/love, and you can let your friends know that you enjoy the Indie Business Podcast. I really want you to find it useful. And if you love it, please take a moment to let me know by sharing. And if I can improve the show, let me know that too. There's a contact link at our website at indiebusinessnetwork.com/contact, and you can send a message. I read every single one of them. I'd love to know how I can serve you better. I'll see you on the next episode of the Indie Business Podcast. In the meantime, break all the rules, build your own corporate ladder, and create the life you love.